Hello there, it's me, SUPAH, once again refusing to make a sketch because making those is miserable, and instead seeing how many wheelchair jokes I can fit in a single video before Twitter cancels me. So Arknights, let me slowly push you through the tale of one of the best units in the history of Arknights. When hearing the phrase one of the best units in the history of Arknights, you probably expect some war crime specialist, a true connoisseur in the art of killing innocent children, someone like Surtr or Cha-Ching, you know, the broken units. Nightingale, part of the followers' lesbian polycule, it is undeniable this unit is very formidable. Yet, no one really talks about her unless prompted. Check top 10 operators with dubious choices of placements, Nightingale is nowhere to be found. Check YouTube in general, you can only find JT83 Clear's Frostbite, which just recommends to build everybody with a pulse, and Tomare making content at least 5 times worse than Tectons. So why is this absolute unit of an operator so often overlooked? I don't know. What I know is that it allows me to put a clickbait title. To start, why does Nightingale keep thriving in the current society of the game, while her counterpart Shining is outclassed by a 4-star? Let's quickly talk about Shining first, then in contrast we can look at Nightingale. Shining has one problem: there are no real situations where she shines. What I mean is that her defense increase gimmick is kinda bad, thanks to how the game calculates physical damage. When Nightingale gives 17 resistance to allies, that is a 17% damage reduction on any and all arts damage, because arts damage is calculated via percentages. Defense is instead calculated with a simple subtraction. Just actual second-grade math to complement the spaghetti code of this game. If an attack deals 1000 damage and you have 200 defense, you are dealt 800 damage. This inherently makes Shining's gimmick way less useful. She can double defense all she wants, but a big enough number can just ignore it. Not only this, but physical damage just isn't as much of a threat as arts damage. Every operator has defense, but not everyone has resistance. Too many operators, arts damage is true damage. Nowadays, Shining is just used for memes to let people survive the hack buff, and to ride Nightingale around. Said Nightingale, on the other hand, not only has an inherently very useful gimmick, but other things that make her really valuable beyond that. The only thing she's missing, really, are some rocket boosters to play Happy Wheels with. Let's go in order. Her talent 1 is White Friends Protection. This talent gives a fat 15 resistance to all allies in range, which is upwards of 18 goofy goobers, 17 resistance at potential 5. This is already really good, just a free 15% damage reduction on all Jesus fucking Christ. This is already really good, just a free 15% damage reduction on all arts damage by just letting her sit there. Skill 3 Sanctuary is the other important bit. It expands her range to what we Arknights experts call a lot. Attack plus 80%, 150% more resistance to all allies in range, and 25% arts dodge. Despite Nightingale being a launch operator, this skill still feels really modern. It does a lot of stuff at once, and at least half are human rights violations. In comparison, Shining's is very simplistic, like most other launch operators. Nightingale was truly ahead of her time. How she got there is even more impressive with the whole legs not working deal. Skill 2 is also quite amazing, giving a shield that slurps up the arts damage and gives 20 resistance. Her so far only module is Closed Hope, which not only gives her wheelchair pedals so her arms don't get tired, but one whole tile of extra range. At first it might seem really mid, just one singular little tile, but trust me, it's good. So far, Nightingale is already very good. She pretty much nullifies a whole type of damage in the game, like turning Tallulah fireballs into a slightly warm breeze. Like one of the users in my Discord server says, server which you should join, by the way, link in the pinned comment. Nightingale very much feels like a perfect unit. He might be biased because of the Nightingale profile picture, but there is a reason biased and based are such similar words. Perfect in the sense that her niche is timeless and useful independently of the meta of the game shifting, because the truly perfect unit is Gummy. She has no flaw to speak of, she truly is the ultimate life form, like Cars from JoJo. Anyhow, I think it's safe to assume that many years from now, Nightingale will still be relevant. If not for her arts damage protection, for the second bit of utterly chonky utility that she provides. Fleeting Phantom. Can summon phantoms, not the operator. Phantoms cannot attack or block enemies, but have 75 resistance and 30% physical dodge, and are more likely to be targeted by enemies. Phantoms lose 3% of max HP per second. Nightingale summons a cage from the heavens, or what I can only assume to be an actual ghost. This is absurdly useful, and I so often see it brushed off as, oh yeah, she can also do this. No motherfucker, this is important. Essentially, Nightingale gives you access to 2 gravels that cost way less and take aggro way better. These little things that look like the ghost of the child that I shot in Vietnam while I was only following orders are so damn valuable that sometimes you take Nightingale specifically for them. The Phantoms are also quite fat, at a 6000 HP and 75 resistance. What's that? BDSM caster is an issue? Not anymore. Is the boss beating your ass with ranged attacks? Nuh-uh. Do you need to stall a boss? No use gravel for that. Do you unfortunately need to protect civilians? Now you can. Did you just cum and you need to clean yourself? Well, the Phantoms look like they're made out of a big tissue. You know, just saying, I'm just pointing that out. So, what we have here is an operator that essentially nullifies a whole entire type of damage in the game, and that brings immense utility with the little ghosts. Which, by the way, this is completely useless, but they can be buffed by people like Warfarin, which only leads me to believe that they are, in fact, actual ghosts. You could say that Kal'tsit with her cancer stand and Warfarin herself with the buffing are better, but personally I think what Nightingale brings to the table is so fundamental and timeless that they can't compare. I guess the only thing that Kal'tsit has over Nightingale is that she can walk.